Hello, welcome to CT Dice Sports. My name is CT Dice, and this is the NFL 2024 team preview kind of show for this year. And I'm excited about this. So it's basically part of my preparation, but also taking a delve into the NFL. The way I actually look at it is if we're getting into a new NFL season that starts September 5th with the Baltimore Ravens visiting the Kansas City Chiefs, you might as well get ready for it. It's less than a week to the kickoff of the NFL for the 2024 season. And I'm here to give you the ultimate team preview for all 32 teams. And the way I look at it is we're going to look at what happened previously, I would say last season, what happened in the off season, what has changed, what are the most important positions, the coaches and the star players, and also what do we think entering the 2024 season. So I'm going to be taking a look at all 32 teams in the NFL, and I'm going to be doing it division by division for all 8 divisions, 4 in the AFC, 4 in the NFC for the NFL basically season in 2024. As I said, my name is CT Dice. This is CT Dice Sport. Don't forget, if you're watching this, if you like it, you get any value from it, you want to put your comments in, what you think. It's going to be a little bit longer. Going to try to be as quick as possible and get into as much detail as we can. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share, comment on the YouTube page for CT Dice. You can also check out the social media pages at on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm going to get right into it. We're going to be going division by division, then team by team, but we're going to go through all 32 teams in the NFL to make sure we have what I call relevant information going into the season. So we're going to be taking a look at the records from the previous 2023 seasons, the coaching positions and who's in charge of that or what has changed, star players, starting quarterbacks, notable additions and notable departures from each team, the 2023 regular season offensive and defensive stats, DVOAs according to FTN for each of those teams, and projected win totals for the upcoming 2024 season, and basically what we think about those teams. So now let's get started. We're going to begin from the AFC East, and I'm going to be looking at the Buffalo Bills to begin with. With the Buffalo Bills, kind of very interesting team, but one of the teams, in my opinion, that had the biggest changes in the NFL this season. And for the Buffalo Bill, I'm going to begin with their 2023 record, which was 11-6, which was a pretty good record last season. Their head coach, Sean McDermott, the offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, first season started midway through last season, with the Buffalo Bills, former LSU offensive coordinator with Joe Burrow when they won the national championship in college, also was the offensive coordinator at Carolina when everything sucked. I can't say it was his fault, but everything in Carolina sucked when he was there. Defensive coordinator Bobby Babich, also first-time defensive coordinator with the Buffalo Bills. And now for the starting quarterback, superstar Josh Allen for the Buffalo Bills. Star players, Deion Dawkins, left tackle, elite All-Pro left tackle for the Buffalo Bills. Matt Milano, linebacker, star linebacker, currently injured, a very important part of the team. Tyron Johnson, cornerback, rising cornerback for the Buffalo Bills, and Dalton Kincaid, who I think is going to be their top pass catcher, tight end for the Buffalo Bills. And then for the notable additions to this team, there were lots of changes basically made to this team. There's Curtis Samuel, wide receiver, Lyle Collins, offensive tackle, and Kareem Jackson. The whole wide receiver room, basically a makeover in Buffalo. And defensively, they had a lot of additions and departures as well, especially in the secondary. We're going to look at the departures. We have Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, 2 top wide receivers for them, gone. Leonard Floyd, defensive end, gone. And then in the back end of the defense, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, Tre'Davious White, gone. Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde were safeties, and I said were safeties, are safeties that departed the Buffalo Bills. Tre'Davious White, cornerback for the Buffalo Bills last season, no longer there with them. And when we take a look at the defensive and offensive numbers from last year, offensively, the Buffalo Bills were pretty good. First in rush offense, but Josh Allen doing what he does with his legs, as good as he can throw the ball. And total points per game, they were fourth, 28.4 points scored in 2023. Defensively, they were a really good team. Points per game, giving up 16.5. They were the best team in the NFL defensively in points per game. But total yards, giving up 301.4, sixth best in the entire NFL. Average rush defense and pretty good pass defense. And total DVOA. Basically, DVOA is a defense adjusted value over average, a stat basically adjusting for poor and bad defenses. They were total third, offensively third best, and defensively 12th best in DVOA ranking according to FTN. And total projected wins, 9.5 for the Buffalo Bills. Either to win double digits, 10 or more, or not to. In my opinion, that's a lot. Too many changes. Josh Allen is really good. I would stick close with the under. Maybe narrowly somehow probably missing the playoffs, or maybe they make the playoffs 9-8, but I'll stick. I would lean more to the under. I think there's too much on Josh Allen's responsibility. Anything happens to Josh Allen, this team is tanking. They're not that good, in my opinion, without Josh Allen, with all the offensive changes made in this team. So I will lean towards the under. 11-6 last year. I think they got worse. Too many defensive players gone from the probably one of the best defenses in the NFL last year, at least points per game. So that's for the Buffalo Bills. I think too many changes. Their coach remains the same, Sean McDermott, defensive minded. Offensively, they might struggle with too many changes. Possible a lot of turnovers to Josh Allen, a lot of running, high risk injury, in my opinion, for Josh Allen with the Buffalo Bills. And now we're going to go to the next team in the AFC East we're going to be looking at, and it is the Miami Dolphins. In my opinion, one of the more interesting teams in the league because of how they play speed. With the Miami Dolphins, we're going to take a look at the 2023 regular season record, 11-6, pretty good record. Head coach Mike McDonald, offensive coordinators Frank Smith, and defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver. I think this is where they might struggle, losing Vic Fangio, their defensive coordinator from last season. Starting quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, finally paid. Might have some thoughts a little bit after I go through this. And for the star players on the Miami Dolphins, we got the Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, speed on offense. Defensively, you got Jalen Ramsey, Calais Campbell, a little bit older for Calais, but pretty good defensive tackle as well. Then Teron Armstead, left tackle for the Miami Heat, protecting Tua's blind side. Probably not the blind side. He's a lefty throwing the ball. Notable additions to the team were Jordan Poyer and Shaquille Barrett. Shaquille Barrett is a linebacker, Jordan Poyer safety from the Buffalo Bills. And notable departures, lost their all-pro defensive lineman Christian Wilkins. Robert Hunt, right guard, also gone from Miami. Cedric Wilson Jr. and Raekwon Davis, defensive line, gone as well. And for their stats from last year, pretty good offensive team. Second in points per game last year, 29.2 points scored for the Miami Dolphins. In my opinion, they're probably not as good last year, if not for the 70 plus 200 points, 300 points they scored against the Denver Broncos. So if you put that as an outlier, I would say 5th to 10th best offense in the league last year. Pretty good offense. Passing offense, number 1, 265.5. Also made to look a little better by that big game against the Denver Broncos last year. 6th against the rush offensively last year. And defensively, very average team, 23 points, giving up 22nd in all of the NFL. Good rush defense. 7th in the league, 97.1. And I think that had a lot to do with Christian Wilkins on their defensive line and Raekwon Davis. That's now gone with Vic Fangio being their coach last year. DVOA ranked 6th overall, offensive 7, defense DVOA 19, so 6th overall team DVOA rank last season. And projected over and under for this year, 9.5. Now, when I look at this team, a few things that are very interesting to me. I think this is a team that actually does well with the advantage of playing in Miami. A lot of the teams that come maybe from the East Coast and colder weathers and get into the fall would be shocked how hot and how much they might have to hydrate to play in Miami. That gives them an offense, and they are fast offensively. Defensively, I think they're going to take a step back, but this offense is still going to be really good in the regular season. Postseason and later in the year, I think they struggle the same way with Tua Tagovailoa as their quarterback. In terms of him getting paid over $200 million for 4-year contract extension, he deserved it. That's the going rate for quarterbacks right now. But I don't still think he puts them over the hump as a team. 9.5 projected. I think they go over that easily in the regular season. They're going to blow a few teams out here. They're not going to believe the speed that they are going to come up against. Their offense, I think, is still going to be pretty good with Mike McDonald leading that. Defensively, they're going to take a step back. Still going to be a team that wins over 10 games this season. And for the next team in the AFC East, we're going to look at the New England Patriots with a record last season 2023 of 4-13. Pretty bad team. Last year, fired their long-time successful coach Bill Belichick. The defense was pretty good with him, even in the postseason. Everything is going to be bad this year in New England. Head coach Gerard Mayo, first year. Offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt, defensive coordinator DeMarcus Covington. All first years don't have a lot to work with to see how good they are. Starting quarterback will be Jacoby Brissett. It could be Drake May very soon in the season. Star players, none. Notable additions, Drake May, quarterback, number 3 overall pick in the NFL draft. Jacoby Brissett coming in to start early in the season before he takes over probably. Antonio Gibson, running back. Sion Takitaki, linebacker, and KJ Osborne, receiver, coming in. And notable departures, Matt Jones. I don't think they're going to miss him. Trent Brown, offensive tackle, pretty decent player. I don't think New England has a lot to work with. And going off of last season, bad team all around. Offensively, points per game, last 13.9 points per game. Defensively, 21.5, 15th in the NFL. But I think it was interesting. Against the rush, they were the 4th in the NFL, giving up only 93.2 yards, rush yards per game. And no more Bill Belichick, so that's going to not even get bad. Still be good against the rush. Total DVOA rank, they were 27th last year, pretty bad team in general, and they won only 4 games and projected 4.5 wins. In my opinion, they go under. They were only 4-13 last year, and I think they got worse coaching, players, everything on this team got worse, so they're going to win less, in my opinion, than 4 games that they did last year. So 4.5 under for the New England Patriots. And then finally in the AFC East, we're going to look at the New York Jets. And for the New York Jets, it's a very interesting season considering that Aaron Rodgers, few plays into the 2023 season, got injured, and that changed their season. But in my opinion, still won 7 games last season with their defense carrying them on a horrible offense led by Zach Wilson last season in New York, basically. So I'm going to go through it. Head coach Robert Saleh coming in here, been here for a few years now, coming from San Francisco 49ers. Offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett, basically Aaron Rodgers' personal coordinator as their quarterback. Defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich, and the starting quarterback Aaron Rodgers, 40 plus. Hopefully stays healthy and gives this team an offensive chance as well. Star players, Breece Hall, running back, elite. Garrett Wilson, wide receiver, elite in my opinion. Tyron Smith coming from Dallas, a little bit older, star offensive lineman. Quinnen Williams, star defensive lineman, and Sauce Gardner at the back end cornerback, star cornerback for the New York Jets. Notable additions, Javon Kinlaw, defensive line from the San Francisco 49ers. Tyron Smith from the Dallas Cowboys, Mike Williams from LA Chargers, and Tyrod Taylor coming in as the backup quarterback for the Jets. Notable departures, Zach Wilson. Would they notice? Probably not if everybody stays or the quarterback room stays healthy. What were the offensive and defensive numbers for the Jets? Defensively, elite last year. 12 best points per game, 20.9. But their pass defense, 168.3 yards per game given up by that defense, was second best in the NFL. And for the offense, horrible. 15.8 points per game, 29th in all of the NFL. And again, for the passing yards offensively, 171.7 30th in the NFL. And for the projected wins for the New York Jets in 2020 for 9.5. This basically thinking that their quarterback room will be much better than last year. In my opinion, that's an over. So winning 7 games by carried by their defense with how poor the offense was last year. I think if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, they're going to be better. If Tyrod Taylor is going to have to be the quarterback, they're going to be better. The defense is still just as good. The offense only can get better. And that is it for the AFC East. And we're going to be heading to the AFC North. And this for me is always the most interesting division. Every division game, you can lose to anybody. It's a really strong division in the AFC North. And it's basically, we're going to begin with the Baltimore Ravens. And with the Baltimore Ravens, last season, they ended the season 13-4. Excellent season. The best team in the regular season in the NFL, in my opinion. Head coach John Harbaugh, offensive coordinator Todd Monken, pretty good offensive coordinator coming from Georgia a few years ago. Defensive coordinator Zachary Orr, first time as a defensive coordinator for Baltimore. This defense is going to see a bit of a drawback considering they lost their coordinator to Seattle as head coach, Mike McDonald from last season. That was pretty good. Starting quarterback Lamar Jackson, star players Derrick Henry, running back that they acquired from Tennessee, Mike Andrews, tight end, Marlon Humphrey, cornerback, and Justin Madubuike, defensive tackle for the Baltimore Ravens. Got paid too in this offseason. Congratulations, Justin Madubuike, for getting paid and actually being a star defensive lineman in the NFL. Notable additions for this team: Derrick Henry, running back. That's going to be an interesting run game. And they were the number 1 rushing offense in 2023. Only got better. Notable departures: Odell Beckham Jr., wide receiver now in Miami, injured currently. Patrick Quinn, linebacker. Devin Duvernay, wide receiver, and Gus Edwards, running back, now with the LA Chargers. And for their ranks offensively, best rushing attack, number 1 in the NFL. Total yards per game, 6th in the NFL last year. And total points per game, 28.4, 4th in the NFL. And defensively, elite defense, points per game defensively, 16.5, 1st in the NFL. And total yards per game, 301.4, 6th in the NFL in 2023. DVOA ranks, number 1 in all of the NFL, both offense and defense. Offensively 4th, defensively 1st, and total number 1. Total projected 10.5 for this 2024 season. I would say they go over 10.5. They won 13 last year. They would be able to win 11 this year. It only got better, a lot of continuity. Rush game was number 1. I don't think it got worse. Passing game is just going to be as good. If Lamar stays healthy, this team is pretty good. Defensively, they're going to actually not be as good. That's why I said they could win 11, not 13. If they kept their defensive coordinator, 13 or more in my opinion. But they should win over 10, and their defense is not going to be as good as last season without Mike McDonald as their defensive coordinator. And for this another team in the AFC North, that would be the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC North. And this is with hoping that Joe Burrow stays healthy this year. Last season, finished with a 9-8 record with all the injury they had. Pretty decent record considering the circumstances. Head coach Zach Taylor, offensive coordinator Dan Pitcher, defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, pretty good defensive coordinator. Starting quarterback Joe Burrow, hopefully he stays healthy. Star players Jamar Chase, wide receiver, and T. Higgins, wide receiver. Jamar Chase still dealing with completing his negotiations, basically holding out whatever is going on. Hopefully he suits up to get the season started against the New England Patriots. Notable additions: Zach Moss, running back, since they lost Joe Mixon as a running back also in the offseason. Sheldon Rankins, defensive lineman, pretty good. Geno Stone, safety, also new additions to the Bengal team. And then the players that left the Bengals: Joe Mixon, running back; DJ Reader, defensive tackle; and Chidobe Awuzie, cornerback, also leaving the Cincinnati Bengals. And if you look at the offensive and defensive ranks with how the season went for the Cincinnati Bengals last year, the offense was basically trash. They were 31st against the rush, or 31st rushing the ball at 89.8, is second to last in the NFL, and points per game offensively was 21.5, 16th in the NFL, pretty average. And defense yards per game, they did and total yards defensively per game as 31st, 374.6. They were horrible last season defensively as well. FTN DVOA rank 11th last year, and this had to do with a lot of injuries to the quarterback and to the team. So for the 2024 season, what do I think? Could they win 11 games or less than that? I would go with the under. This is going to be very close, and this is because this division is really tough when you got to play 6 games against Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland Browns, and the Baltimore Ravens. So I'll go under 10.5. I still think even with Joe Burrow, they will struggle to go win more than 10 games. But I think it's going to be an interesting division to actually watch. And for the next team in the AFC North is the Cleveland Browns. Very interesting team for me. 2023, 2024, actually 2023 regular season, 11-6. And this had to do with the injury to Deshaun Watson and getting Joe Flacco in to play the back end of that season. Head coach Kevin Stefanski, pretty good coach. Offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey. First with the Browns, defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, excellent defensive coordinator. This defense was amazing in 2023. Starting quarterback Deshaun Watson, lots of question marks. Star players Myles Garrett, defensive end, arguably the best defensive end in the NFL. Mari Cooper, wide receiver, and Denzel Ward, elite cornerback for the Cleveland Browns. And then Nick Chubb, running back, currently injured from really bad injury from the 2023 season in the NFL. Notable departures and additions to this team. Jerry Jeudy came in from the Denver Broncos, while they actually lost Sion Takitaki, linebacker, and lost Joe Flacco, they were backup quarterback. They also added Devin Bush, linebacker, Jordan Hicks, linebacker, and Deonta Foreman, running back, who is going to be probably their third running back on the practice squad, but might have an impact for the Cleveland Browns considering Nick Chubb's injury. The 2023 offensive and defensive stats, basically, this team was excellent defensively. That's where I'm going to start. They were first total yards per game at 270.2 in the NFL, and points per game 21.3, 13th because of turnovers from the offense and special teams play. They were 13th, pretty average in points per game defensively, but offensively, very average. Points per game 23.10, 10th in the NFL, and total yards per game 335.9, 16th in the NFL. DVOA rank 8 in all of the NFL. Had a pretty good season considering what they dealt with. Ended with an 11-6 record. Asking me, could they win 8.5 games or more? Yes, the Cleveland Browns, in my opinion, would win more than 8 games in the 2024 NFL season. Gotta watch out for the Deshaun Watson situation, but we'll see how that goes with the Cleveland Browns. And now for the final team in the AFC North, we're looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Last 2023-2024 record with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They actually finished 10-7. I love their coach. I love this team, but very mediocre team for several years. Mike Tomlin is the head coach. Offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. We're going to run the ball in Pittsburgh this year as well. Starting quarterback Russell Wilson, could be Justin Fields at any time. Star players TJ Watt, outside linebacker Patrick Quinn, linebacker, coming into the team and from free agency. Minka Fitzpatrick, safety, and Cameron Hayward, defensive tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Defensively, pretty decent team. Notable additions was Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, the quarterback, Patrick Quinn, linebacker, and Van Jefferson, wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Notable departures, both quarterbacks last year that couldn't get it done at the level they wanted. Kenny Pickett, quarterback, and Mason Rudolph, quarterback. They also lost wide receiver Deontay Johnson to Carolina Panthers to be their wide receiver number 1. Patrick Peterson gone, and Mason Cole, the center, is also gone in Pittsburgh. What were the ranks in 2023? Rush-wise, 14th in the league, average 118.2, total yards Offensively, 304.3, 25th in the league, and their offense was horrible, 17.9, 28 in all of the NFL last season. Defensively, really good, points per game, 19.16 in all of the NFL, and kind of average rush and pass defense, 18th and 19th. Actually, rush defense, 19th in the NFL, and pass defense, 18th last season in the NFL. DVOA, 9th overall in the NFL. Could they win 8.5 games this year, or could they win more than 8 games in the NFL this year? I would say I count on the Mike Tomlin record to keep having winning seasons and not have a losing season. I would say he wins 9 games. Pretty close, tough division. Offense probably struggles, but defense can actually pull them through, find ways to win games. So that will be it for the AFC North. And now we head into the AFC South. Interesting division for me. We're going to start with the Houston Texans. And from the 2023 record, 10-17 with a rookie last year, CJ Stroud entering his second year. Head coach, DeMeco Ryans, offensive coordinator, Bobby Slowick, defensive coordinator, Matt Burke, and the starting quarterback, obviously, CJ Stroud. Star players, Stephon Diggs coming from Buffalo Bills, Laramie Tunsil left tackle, Daniel Hunter coming in, and Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback for the Houston Texans. Who were the notable additions for the Texans? Brought in Stephon Diggs from the Buffalo Bills, Joe Mixon from Cincinnati Bengals, Daniel Hunter last season, defensive end, not with the team, Azeez Al-Ashir, linebacker, and Denico Autry, defensive end, coming in for the Houston Texans. And notable departures, Jonathan Greenard, defensive end, Kareem Jackson, safety, and Devin Singletary, running back, no longer with the Houston Texans. What were the ranks last season? Offensively, average, 13th overall, 22.2 points per game with CJ Stroud. Total yards per game, 342.4, 12th in the NFL. Rushing offense was horrible, 96.1, 22nd. That might also have something to do with the quarterback didn't rush a lot, but the rushing offense wasn't good. DVOA, 12th in the league, very average. What are they projected to win this year? 9.5. Can they win double-digit times in the NFL this year? This is a close one. I don't think they go over it by much. I think last year was a really good year. Having the same year last year would be pretty good. So I would say they go over 9.5, win 10 games, probably max 11 games. But there's a good chance they also go under for the Houston Texans. But I would lean over 9.5, win 10 games again for the Houston Texans for the 2024 season. And then going over to the next team in the AFC South is the Indianapolis Colts. Last season finished with a record of 9-8, with Anthony Richardson getting injured early on in the season and Gardner Minshew being the quarterback. Pretty decent job considering the circumstances. Hopefully Anthony Richardson is healthy, who is the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. Head coach, Shane Steichen, pretty good play caller. Offensive coordinator, Jim Bob Scooter. Defensive coordinator, Gus Bradley. Do I really care much about the offensive coordinator? Shane Steichen is going to be calling the plays. The offensive coordinator is just there to make sure the team offensively is ready throughout the week. Star players, Quentin Nelson, left guard, Jonathan Taylor, running back for the Indianapolis Colts. Notable additions, Joe Flacco coming in from Cleveland to back up Anthony Richardson. Departures, starting quarterback most of the year last year, Gardner Minshew is gone. Zach Moss is also gone from the Indianapolis Colts as well. What were the ranks last year for the Indianapolis Colts offensively and defensively? Points per game offensively, 11th, 23.3. Rush and pass were kind of middle of the park. Rush, 10th, pass, 16th in the league last year offensively. And defensively, horrible team. Points per game, 24.4, 28 in the NFL. DVOA ranked 20th in the NFL last season. Can they win over 8.5 games? Absolutely. They won 9 games last year. I actually think with Shane Steichen, if Anthony Richardson is healthy, have a chance to win 9 or more games in the 2024 season in the NFL. And then now we're going to head to the Jacksonville Jaguars team preview for the 2024 season. And looking at the 2023 record, ended 9-8. In my opinion, poor season from the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Houston winning that division. Head coach Doug Peterson, offensive coordinator Press Taylor, defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen, first season with the Jacksonville Jaguars as a defensive coordinator from Atlanta. Wow. Now, wow. Okay, next up, we're going to be going to the Jaguars team preview and looking at the 2023 record. It ended 9-8. Not great for this team, but we're going to take a look into that. Head coach Doug Peterson, offensive coordinator Press Taylor, defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen, first season with the Jags from Atlanta. Starting quarterback Trevor Lawrence got paid. Congratulations to him, but now time to perform. Star players Eric Armstead, defensive tackle, Christian Kirk, wide receiver, and Josh Allen, defensive end for the Jacksonville Jags. Notable additions: Eric Armstead as a defensive tackle for them, Gabe Davis, wide receiver, Daniel Savage, safety for the Jags. Notable departures: Kalavian Kiason or Chilson, actually Kiason, linebacker, Calvin Ridley, wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And if you look at the stats for the Jacksonville Jaguars from last year, everything was mediocre. Points per game offensively, 23.3, 11th of defensively, points per game. They allowed 22.2, 14th position in the NFL. DVOA rank, 10th position in the NFL. Offensively, 18th, defensively, 10th DVOA, according to FTN. 2024 projected over and under, 8.5. I think 8.5 is a very good spot to pull them. I think they have kind of a similar season. If you ask me to lean in one direction, deep passing game with their current addition, that should be current addition in the team, Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver, rookie, stretch the field with Gabe Davis as well. They can win over 8 games this season. That would be where I'd lean for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Interesting division as well with the Colts, Texans, and the Tennessee Titans in the AFC South for the NFL. So I would say they go over. What do I think of this team? Offensively, gonna be average. Defensively, probably gonna be average as well. And for the Tennessee Titans, for the 2024 season preview, if you look at 2023, ended the season 6-11, got their head coach Mike Vrabel fired, lost Derrick Henry also in free agency. Current coach Brian Callahan, first year. Defensive coordinator Nick Foles, defensive coordinator Donald Wilson, all first-time head coaches and coaches with the Tennessee Titans. Starting quarterback Will Levis, second year as the starter, kind of started, second year pro as the starter for the Tennessee Titans. Star players: DeAndre Hopkins, wide receiver, pretty old now, not as good as he used to be. Jeffrey Simmons, defensive tackle, and the star cornerback in free agency, L'Jarius Sneed from the Kansas City Chiefs signed. Notable additions: L'Jarius Sneed, cornerback, Chidobe Awuzie, cornerback as well, Calvin Ridley, wide receiver, Tony Pollard from the Dallas Cowboys, running back, and Mason Rudolph, quarterback from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Notable departures: Malik Willis, quarterback, Derrick Henry, gun, running back, Denico Autry, defensive line, Aziz Al-Sher, linebacker, and Chris Moore, wide receiver, gone from the Titans. What were their ranks in 2023? Offensively, very bad, 17.9, 27th in the NFL. Total yards per game, 289, 28 in the NFL. Total defense, total yards allowed defensively, 325.1, 19th average in the NFL, and points per game, 21.6, 16th in the NFL. So defensively, pretty average, and total DVOA, according to FTN, 26 in the NFL, so pretty poor. Projected wins, 6.5. I think they go over. I think second year with Will Levis. Might be the first time head coaches, so that might be the problem with going over. But I think second year with Will Levis and some quality additions to this team. Losing Derrick Henry might be a problem, but if they throw the ball more, might actually get some offensive production that way and go over the 6.5 wins. And that would be basically that for the AFC South team previews. And now we head to the final conference in the AFC that we're going to be reviewing. Definitely not the list. Got the Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, in this division, the AFC West. And I'm going to begin with the Denver Broncos. And with the Broncos in 2023, they actually finished 8-9, a higher record considering I remember the Dolphins blowing them out and scoring 1,000, 2,000, 4,000 points in whatever horrible defensive performance. Coach Sean Payton, offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi, defensive coordinator Vance Joseph, all returning. Starting quarterback Bo Nix, rookie drafted in the 2024 NFL draft. Star player Patrick Sutton II, cornerback for the Denver Broncos. Notable addition, Brandon Jones, safety. Notable departures, Russell Wilson, Justin Simmons, safety, and Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver, no longer with the Denver Broncos. What were the ranks last year? Sucked defensively, 27th overall. That might have something to do with the poor game against the Miami Dolphins, where they conceded about 70 points in that game. Offensively, 12 points per game, 21.019 in the NFL without actually great quarterback play. Mediocre rushing and passing the ball in 2023. DVOA rank 24, pretty poor in DVOA rank overall in the NFL. And projected wins this year, 5.5. I said they go over this year. They won 8 last year. In my opinion, another year with Sean Payton, they should be better as a team. Even though it's a rookie quarterback, 5.5, they can win 6 games or more in 2024. And for the Kansas City Chiefs, or rather the next team to preview in this season preview in the NFL, will be the Kansas City Chiefs, the reigning Super Bowl champions. 2023 record 11-6. Pretty poor offensive year, still won the Super Bowl. That's how good this team is. Head coach Andy Reid, offensive coordinator Matt Nagy, defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo. Continuity, that's really a good sign. Starting quarterback Patrick Mahomes. Star players Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, defensive tackle, Joe Thuney, left guard for the Kansas City Chiefs. Notable additions, Marquise Hollywood Brown, wide receiver, and Xavier Worthy, wide receiver, coming in through the draft in the first round for the Kansas City Chiefs as a rookie. Notable departures, star cornerback L'Jarius Sneed going to the Tennessee Titans from the Kansas City Chiefs. And what were the defensive and offensive rank? Defensively, pretty good. Defensive points per game, 17.3, second in the NFL. Pass defense, 176.5, fourth in the NFL, pretty good. And rush defense, 113.2, 18th, middle of the pack in the NFL. Offensively, tough year, but still we're the 6th best passing offense, 246.4 with the drops for in the passing game for Kansas City, with so many drops on this team last season. Overall points per game, 21.8, 15th, middle of the pack in the NFL in offense. Total DVOA rank, 5th in the NFL. Total projected wins for this year, 11.5. I'll pick the over. They won 11 games last year. I actually think they could be better in the regular season this year for the Kansas City Chiefs. And now to the Las Vegas Raiders 2024 team preview. And in 2023, the Las Vegas Raiders ended the season 8-9. Current coach Antonio Pierce, offensive coordinator Luke Getsy, defensive coordinator Patrick Graham, pretty good defensive coordinator for the Las Vegas Raiders. Starting quarterback Gardner Minshew, star players Devontae Adams, wide receiver, and Max Crosby, defensive and rushing the passer. Notable additions to this team: Gardner Minshew, now the starting quarterback; Brock Bowers, first round tight end pick in 2024 draft for the Las Vegas Raiders; and Christian Wilkins, defensive tackle, free agent signing from the Miami Dolphins. Notable departures: Jimmy Garoppolo, quarterback, not sure it's going to be missed; Hunter Renfrow, wide receiver, and star running back Josh Jacobs going to the Green Bay Packers from the Las Vegas Raiders. And if you look at their ranks last year, defensively pretty good. On top 10 defensive points per game team, 19.5, ninth position. Offense was pretty bad. Points per game, 19.5, 22nd. And you have them at the rush defense. Offense last year, 90.7, 30th in the NFL, third to last in the NFL with rush offense last year. DVOA rank, 21st in the NFL, bottom third percentile in the NFL in total DVOA. Projected 6.5 wins, I think they go over. I think actually, correct. I gotta correct myself. I think they go under 6.5. I don't think this team will be much better than last year, this year, in any form. And then for the Los Angeles Chargers, for team preview for 2023 record was 5-12. Changed their head coach. Previous head coach probably shouldn't have been hired. But current head coach Jim Harbaugh, coming from Michigan in college, first with the Bolts, bringing with him offensive coordinator Jesse Minter from Michigan as well. Defensive actually offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers is um, basically is Greg Roman, and defensive coordinator would be Jesse Minter coming from Michigan to the NFL for the Chargers as well. Then if you go starting quarterback for the Los Angeles Chargers would be Justin Herbert. Star players Rashawn Slater, Khalil Mack, and Joey Bosa. Notable additions to this team: Christian Fulton, cornerback, and Joe Alt, first round right tackle pick in the 2024 draft for the Chargers. Notable departures: wide receivers Keenan Allen and Mike Evans, and then running back Austin Eckler, now with the Washington Commanders. What were the ranks last year? Very poor. Offensively, 21st, 20.4 points per game. Defensively, 24th, 23.4 points per game. DVOA rank, 19th in the league. I'm projected this year to win over or under 8.5. I would say because of the division that this team plays, they have the Raiders and they have the Denver Broncos. I would say Jim Harbaugh first year with this team, I would say over for the Los Angeles Chargers. And that basically will be all for the AFC and the AFC West division preview. And now heading into the preview for the NFC teams. We're going to start from the NFC East, and we're going to start with the Dallas Cowboys, the so-called American team, the Dallas Cowboys. And for the Dallas Cowboys, we're going to start with basically the 2023 record, just 12-5, pretty good team in the NFL last year, had a really good defensive year and also a very good offensive year as well. For the Dallas Cowboys, head coach Mike McCarthy, offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer, and defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer. Here, they lost the defensive coordinator Dan Quinn to the Washington Commanders. Starting quarterback is Dak Prescott. Star players, CD Lamb, wide receiver, Micah Parsons, defensive end, Zach Martin, right guard, and Trevor Diggs, cornerback, coming back from an injury. CD Lamb got paid. Micah Parsons expects to get paid. Dak Prescott, we'll see. Notable additions to the team: Ezekiel Elliott coming back at running back, and Eric Kendricks at linebacker, losing Tony Pollard running back, and Tyron Smith at tackle. Also left the Dallas Cowboys during the offseason. And for the offensive and defensive stats from 2023, offensively, pretty good, 29.9 points per game, number one in the NFL, and total yards per game, 371.6, fifth in the NFL offensively. Defensively, pretty good as well, 18.5 points against, fifth in the NFL, and total yards allowed, 299.7, fifth in the NFL as well. DVOA ranked, according to FTN, number 4 in the NFL. Offensively, number 9, defensively 5, defensively ranked 5th, and they were pretty good last year as a team during the regular season. Projected over under 9.5. They won 12 last year. There's a lot going on. And the AFC East, you got the New York Giants, Philadelphia Eagles, and the Washington Commanders. That's an interesting division, in my opinion. Giants are going to be pretty bad. Commanders could be really bad. I would say they win over 9.5 games and win 10 games in 2024. Would they be better? I don't think they're the better team than last season, but they could win over 9 games in 2024. Resolving CD Lamb's issue is a big deal. Dak Prescott's negotiation, that would be a thing, and Micah Parsons also could be a distraction, but they could still win over 9.5 games in 2024. That basically is how I'm leaning. And to the next team in the NFC East, we got the New York Giants. So New York Giants preview 2024 season. From 2023, they had a record of 6-11. Current head coach Brian Daboll, offensive coordinator Mike Kafka, defensive coordinator Shane Bowen, first season. Starting quarterback Daniel Jones, back from injury from last year. My star players: Malik Neighbors, wide receiver rookie from LSU, drafted in the first round for the New York Giants. Dexter Lawrence, nose tackle, and Brian Burns signed in free agency, kind of traded from the Carolina Panthers in the offseason and given a big contract in New York. Notable additions: Malik Neighbors, rookie, wide receiver; Brian Burns, free agency, defensive end; and Jermaine Eluomona, offensive lineman; and Drew Lock as backup quarterback in New York. Notable departures: Saquon Barkley off to the Philadelphia Eagles in free agency; Sterling Shepard, wide receiver, and lost Tyrod Taylor, quarterback, to the New York Jets. What were the offensive and defensive stats last year? Sucked on both ends of the ball. Offensively, points per game, 30th in the whole league, third to last. Defensively, points per game, 23.9 points allowed, 26th in all of the NFL. Also sucked. DVOA rank, 30th, sucked last year, finished with 6-11 record. Could they win over 6.5 games this year? I would say under, not over. They wouldn't go. I don't think they're a better team than they were last year. Even with the injuries and stuff, I think they still struggle in 2024. And for the next team in the NFC East would be the Philadelphia Eagles. For the Philadelphia Eagles 2023 record, they were an 11-16. Last year, started 10-1 and I think ended the season 1-5. It was a really dramatic, horrible end to last season. Current coach Nick Sirianni still there. Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator, first with Philadelphia, and they got the defensive coordinator Vic Fangio with the Eagles now, coming from the Miami Dolphins, veteran defensive coach in the NFL. Starting quarterback Jalen Hurts. Star players: AJ Brown, wide receiver; Saquon Barkley, running back; Lane Johnson, right tackle; and Devonta Smith, wide receiver. Their receivers got paid. Notable additions: Saquon Barkley got paid, coming from the Giants, running back; Bryce Huff, and you got Kenny Pickett coming in as a backup quarterback for Jalen Hurts. You also have Devin White, linebacker, and Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback for the Philadelphia Eagles, as a rookie drafted in the NFL draft. As well. Notable departures: Kevin Byard, safety; Hassan Reddick, linebacker; and DeAndre Swift, running back, going to leaving the Philadelphia Eagles. Offensive and defensive ranks from 2023: defensively, horrible, 30th position, giving up 25.2 points per game. Total yards allowed by that defense, 356.1, 26th in the NFL. Offensively, pretty decent team, 25.5 points per game, 7th in the NFL. Good rush offense, 128.88 in the NFL, and middle of the pack passing offensively in 2023. DVOA rank, 14th in the NFL. Could they win over 10.5 games in 2024? Absolutely, I think so. They could win 11 or more. With how their season ended last year, 1-5 record, and still ended up winning 11 games, I think they can win 11 games, picking up huge wins against Washington and Giants in their division as well. And for the final team in the NFC East would be the Washington Commanders. And for the Washington Commanders, their 2023 record was 4-13, which allowed them to get the number 2 pick in the draft, and drafted Jaden Daniels from LSU as their quarterback. Head coach Dan Quinn, first with Commanders, coming from the Dallas Cowboys. Offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury, first with the Commanders, previously head coach of Arizona Cardinals. And defensive coordinator Joe Witt Jr., first time defensive coordinator. And for the star players, we got Terry McLaurin, wide receiver; Jonathan Allen, defensive tackle; Daron Payne, defensive tackle. That interior line might be a strength on their defense. Notable additions to the team: rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels; Jeremy Chin, safety; Frankie Louvu, linebacker; Austin Eckler, running back from the LA Chargers; and Marcus Mariota as backup quarterback on this team. Notable departures: Sam Howell, quarterback; Curtis Samuel, leaving for the Buffalo Bills; Antonio Gibson, running back; and Jacoby Brissett, gone as well, was a backup quarterback on this team last year. What were the offensive and defensive stats from 2023? Offensively, sucked, 19.4 points per game, 25th in the NFL. Defensively, sucked, 30.5 points per game allowed, 32nd and last in the NFL. DVOA rank, 31st in the NFL, sucked. Somehow they won 4 games. Could they win over 6.5 games this year? I would say yes, with a dynamic quarterback like Jaden Daniels. They won 4 games, were probably the worst team in the NFL and still found a way to win 4 games. I think they could win 7 games in the NFL this year, maybe 2 from the Giants already in the NFL. But it should be an interesting watch with the rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels, for the Washington Commanders. And that will be it for the NFC East in the NFL team previews. And we're going to head to the NFC North. And the first thing we're going to be looking at would be the Chicago Bears, the much talked about Chicago Bears that had the number 1 pick in the 2024 NFL draft through the Carolina Panthers. Not because they had the worst record, but because they had the Carolina Panthers pick from 2023. What was the record in 2023? 7-10 in 2023. Head coach, Matt Eberflus. Offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, first-time coordinator with Chicago. Defensive coordinator, Eric Washington, first-time defensive coordinator. Starting quarterback, Caleb Williams, first overall pick, 2024 draft. Star players, DJ Moore, wide receiver, and Keenan Allen, wide receiver, coming from the LA Chargers. Jalen Johnson, their star cornerback, Montez Sweat, defensive end, traded in season last year from the Washington Wizards, and DeAndre Swift, current running back, coming from the Philadelphia Eagles, formerly of the Detroit Lions. Notable additions: rookie wide receiver, number 9 overall pick, Rome Odunze, from Washington, like the college Washington, and Keenan Allen, wide receiver, coming from the LA Chargers. Departures: Justin Fields as their starting quarterback, and Eddie Jackson, free safety, also gone from Chicago. How good was this team or bad last year? They had a 7-10 record. They had the number 1 pick due to a trade the previous year for Bryce Young by the Carolina Panthers to go up and draft Bryce Young. So they did get Caleb Williams first overall. Their defense was middle of the pack, points per game, 22.3, 20th in the NFL. Offense, 21.2, middle of the pack, 18th in the NFL. Nothing really interesting, but their defense was improving over the course of last year. And also the DVOA rank, 22nd, poor, basically by FTN over the course of the season. What are they projected? They are projected right now to win over 9.5 games. This is pretty interesting. They won 7 games without, in my opinion, as good a team. Quarterback situation was poor. I think they just narrowly win 10 games, reverse their record, probably something like 10-7 in 2024 season. So I would lean more to the over here, not because I think they'll do way better than 10 wins, but probably not less than that in this 2024 NFL season. And next team in this division would be that's the NFC North, would be the Detroit Lions. For the 2023 season, they were 12-5, pretty good team. Last year, coach Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator, and Aaron Glenn, defensive coordinator, pretty good offensive coordinator. Starting quarterback, Jared Goff. Star players, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, wide receiver, Penei Sewell, right tackle, Aiden Hutchinson, defensive end, and Taylor Decker, left tackle. Pretty good offensive line. And if we look at the ranks from the 2023 season for the Detroit Lions, this was a pretty good offensive team. They were 25th in the NFL offensively, points per game, 27.1 points per game. Rush, 5th in the NFL offensively. Passing, second in the NFL, 258.9 passing yards per game, second in the NFL. Defensively, they were pretty poor, 23.2, 23rd points per game defensively in the NFL, and total yards per game defensively, giving up 336.1, 19th in the NFL. DVOA rank, FTN, pretty good, top 10, 7th position, offense 5th, defense 13th, and this year they projected over 10.5 wins. I would say they go over, win 11 or more. In 2024, they won 12. in 2025 or 2023 rather. I'm thinking ahead, but they won 12 in 2023. 2024, I think they win over 10, and this team remains good. Very tough division. In this division, they got the Packers, the Bears, and the Vikings. That would be an interesting division, in my opinion. Quality head coaches in some of these positions here in the NFC North. And now over to the Green Bay Packers in the NFC North. Team preview 2024. In 2023, the record was 9-8. That was good enough to make the playoffs and upset the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs. Head coach Matt LaFleur, pretty good head coach. Offensive coordinator Adam Stenavich. Defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley. First year in the NFL, pretty poor defensive team, so they got to bring a new coordinator. First year for Jeff Hafley, coming from Boston University or Boston College in Boston College in the college football for the Green Bay Packers defensive coordinator position. Starting quarterback Jordan Love had a great breakout season last year and good playoffs. Star players Josh Jacobs coming from the Raiders, Rashan Gary defensive end rushing the quarterback, and Jay Alexander cornerback for the Green Bay Packers. Notable additions: Josh Jacobs running back and Xavier McKinney safety, and notable departures: Aaron Jones running back going to the Minnesota Vikings. And what were their offensive and defensive stats from 2023? Pretty average on both ends. Offense 12, 22.5, 20.6. Defensive ranking 10th in the NFL. DVOA 13th ranked. Offense DVOA was 6, pretty good offense. Poor defense 27th in the NFL. If you look at their defensive rush ranking, 128.3 allowed defensively, very bad rush defense in 2023, and we'll see if that can be sorted out in 2024. Projected wins, over 9 wins for the season or less. I think they go over 9. They won 9 games last year. I say 10-7 record or better in 2024. Jordan Love should be better. The offense should be better. And the defense was horrible last year. Or actually, I wouldn't say horrible, but their rushing defense was bad. Pass defense was 9th in the NFL, so all right. But they can improve on that. And I think they will finish with 10 double-digit wins or more. And then the final team in the NFC North would be the Minnesota Vikings. And their 2023 record was 7-10. Kai Cousins is no longer with the Minnesota Vikings, leaving way for a new starter in Minnesota. Head coach Kevin O'Connell, pretty good head coach. Brought Josh Dobbs in one game, found a way to win with him last season. Impressive offensive coach. Offensive coordinator Wes Phillips, does not matter to me because Kevin O'Connell handles most of the play calling. Defensive coordinator Brian Flores, good head coach, can improve this defense. Starting quarterback this year will be Sam Darnold. Because of the injury to JJ McCarthy, we wouldn't know if he would have started for this team or not. Star players: Justin Jefferson, wide receiver; Christian Darrisaw, left tackle; and Aaron Jones, the new acquisition in free agency, running back. The notable additions will be Aaron Jones, running back; Jerry Tillery, defensive line; Jonathan Greenard, outside linebacker; and Dallas Turner, a rookie drafted in the first round, outside linebacker for the Minnesota Vikings. And notable departures would be Kai Cousins, quarterback; Daniel Hunter, defensive end; Alexander Mattison, running back; KJ Osborne, wide receiver; Jordan Hicks, linebacker; Marcus Davenport, defensive end. A lot of notable players leaving for the Minnesota Vikings. That might take a while to adjust. Offensively, they were ranked 22nd in the NFL, 20.2 points per game. And defensively, were 14th in the league with 21.3 points allowed. DVOA, 23rd in the NFL in 2023. Projected to win 6.5 or more. This is a tough one. This is a tough division. This is probably my 4th place division in the NFC North. So I would say they go under 6.5 wins. Not very confident because of how good their coach is, but I would lean towards under for the Minnesota Vikings. And now to the NFC South. Very interesting division in my opinion. But we're going to start with the Atlanta Falcons. 2023 record 7-10. Uh, kind of an interesting season. The season you would expect them to have been a little better, but they were not. So that's the reality of the situation. So 2024, they go ahead, they let go of Desmond Reader and bring in Kirk Cousins to be the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. Head coach Raheem Morris, first year with the Falcons from the Rams. Offensive coordinator Zach Robinson. Defensive coordinator Jimmy Lake, first time coordinators with the Falcons. Starting quarterback Kirk Cousins signed on a big contract, coming off of a really bad injury in 2023 that affected even the Vikings records. Star players Bijan Robinson, running back, Chris Lindstrom, right guard, AJ Terrell, cornerback, Drake London, wide receiver. Notable additions: Kirk Cousins, quarterback, to be the starting quarterback. Did draft the kid from Washington to be in the first round of the NFL draft to basically should start, but Mike Pennis, but he's not sure. Going to be the backup for Kirk Cousins. Matthew Judon, cornerback, added to the team late in the offseason. Daniel Mooney, wide receiver, and Justin Simmons, linebacker for the Falcons, also to help their defense. Notable departures: Bud Dupree, defensive end, and Cordero Patterson, the Swiss Army knife running back, wide receiver, gone from the Falcons. What were the ranks in 2023? This was without Kirk Cousins, with poor offensive play. Offense was bad, 18.9 points per game, 26th in the league. Defense was poor, 21.9, 18th in the NFL last year. DVOA 28-14, and then with a 7-10 record. Should have had a better record. Projected 9.5 wins. I think with the division that they're in, I would go over 10-7, 11-6 kind of record for the Atlanta Falcons if Kirk Cousins can stay healthy. And for the next team in the NFC South would be the Carolina Panthers. 2023 record, nothing to be excited about. 2-15 record, horrible season. Didn't get the number one pick. That was Caleb Williams to the Chicago Bears. Current head coach Dave Canales, coming in from offensive coordinator from Tampa Bay. Offensive coordinator Brad Idzik. Defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero with the Carolina Panthers. Starting quarterback Bryce Young, for last year's first overall pick. Star players JC Hunt, cornerback, and Davion Clowney, linebacker. Who was a notable addition? Deontay Johnson from Pittsburgh, wide receiver. Notable departures: trading Brian Burns to the Giants. Frank Louvu gone, linebacker, and Jeremy Chin gone as well. Safety. What were their ranks in 2023? Horrible on both ends of the ball. Offensively, 13.9 points per game, 31st, second to last in the NFL. And defensively, 24.5 points per game allowed, 28th in the NFL. Total DVOA, worst team in the NFL, 32nd. The record says it. They were 215. Projected 5.5 wins in 2025, or 2024 rather, season. I would say winning 6 games. It's possible that they go there to 6 wins. This division isn't great. Their coach Dave Canales is pretty good with quarterbacks, was good with Geno Smith, helped Geno Smith's career resurrect, and last year also helped Baker Mayfield's career resurrect. So that could play a big role in Bryce Young's development. 6 games, they could get it done in this division. I would lean over 5.5 rather than under for the Carolina Panthers. And now for the next team in the NFC South would be the New Orleans Saints. Last year's record, they were 9-8. That's a winning record for a team that everything felt negative about. Head coach Dennis Allen, offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak. First season, probably an improvement. The offense didn't look good. Defensive coordinator Joe Woods, mainly Dennis Allen, the head coach, manages that defense rather. Starting quarterback Derek Carr. Star players Chris Olave, wide receiver, Cameron Jordan, defensive end, and Alvin Kamara, running back. A little old, but a star player. Notable addition: Chase Young, defensive end, Cedric Wilson Jr., wide receiver, Kool-Aid McKinstry, cornerback. Notable departures: Michael Michael Thomas is no longer there, and James Winston no longer with the New Orleans Saints. So how did they do in 2023? Offensively, decent, kind of surprising. I thought they were ninth in points per game, 23.6. Total yards per game, 337.2. They were 14th mid-pack. Defensively, 19.2 points allowed, 8 in the NFL, so defense was still good. And defensive yards per game allowed, 327.2, 13th in the NFL. So a pretty average team in 2023, even though it felt worse. DVOA, 15th in the NFL, very average. Projected 7.5 in 2024, I would lean over. They got to 9 wins and it didn't feel like it. I think even in a bad season, they could get to 9 wins in this poor NFC South division. And then the next team that we'll be looking at will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFC South. 2023-2024 record, 9-8. Baker Mayfield did play well under Dave Canales as the offensive coordinator. Head coach here, Todd Bowles defense, basically. Offensive coordinator, Liam Cohen. Starting quarterback would be Baker Mayfield. Star players, Mike Evans, wide receiver. Chris Godwin, wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tristan Wirfs, left tackle. Vita Veer, the big nose tackle, wrecking everything on the defensive line. Antoine Winfield Jr., safety for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who are the notable additions to this team? Jordan Whitehead, safety. Notable departures: Devin White, linebacker. Center Ryan Jensen. And Shaquille Barrett, outside linebacker. How did their stats stack up in 2023? Offensively, they were 20th, 20.5, not really great. Middle of the pack, kind of bottom middle of the pack. Defensive yards per game, 19.1 points given up, 7th best defense points per game in the NFL, 344.2 yards given up, 23rd in the NFL, not good at all in terms of yards. DVOA, 18th in the NFL, not really good. Now, projections, 7.5 wins. This division is so bad. I would say over. I would lean over. Any of these teams can really continue or do pretty well. The division is not great at all. These numbers are not high as well for the NFC South. And now we're going to go into the final division we're going to be looking at and the final teams that we're going to be looking at in this team previews, and that will be the NFC West. I'm going to start with the Arizona Cardinals. 2023 record, 4-13. Poor, bad record, but they did show effort. Head coach, Jonathan Gannon. Offensive coordinator, Drew Petzing. Defensive coordinator, Nick Rallis. Starting quarterback, Kyler Murray. Was not there all through last year, but showed a lot of life when he got back later in the year in 2023. Star players, Marvin Harrison Jr., rookie, number 4 overall pick in the 2024 draft. Buda Baker, free safety, as well in the secondary for the Arizona Cardinals. Notable additions will be Marvin Harrison Jr. as a receiver, as a rookie receiver. Sean Murphy Bunting, cornerback, as well, was added to the Arizona Cardinals. And notable departures will be Marquise Hollywood Brown, free agent now with the Kansas City Chiefs for Hollywood Brown. How were the stats in 2024? Poor. Offensively, 19.4, 24th in the NFL, and defensively, 26.8, 31st, second to last in the NFL. What are their projected wins? 6.5. They won 4 games last year. I think if Kyler Murray is healthy, 6-7 wins is very possible for this team. They're going to be in a lot of games if Kyler Murray is healthy. If he's not, go under. But if not, they're going to have a fighting chance in 2024. And for the next team will be LA Rams, the Los Angeles Rams. 2024 preview, 2023 record, 10-7. Head coach, Sean McVay, excellent. Offensive coordinator, Mike LaFleur, excellent. Defensive coordinators, Chris Schuler, first year with the Rams. Starting quarterback, Matthew Stafford. Interesting. Pretty good quarterback too. Super Bowl winning quarterback for the LA Rams few years ago. Notable additions in the draft: first year rookie Jared Verse, linebacker Troy Davis White, cornerback brought into the team Jonah Jackson, guard, and Jimmy Garoppolo as a backup in LA. Who are the notable departures? Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald is the notable departure for the LA Rams. He is. It's interesting to see how that defense is going to play this year without him. Kobe Turner was pretty good last year, but could that have been because Aaron Donald was there with him? The star players for the LA Rams are Cooper Cup, Puka Nakua, probably second year. Let's see if he can repeat that. And then Kobe Turner, defensive tackle. Can he repeat how good he was last year with Aaron Donald next to him? How were the stats last year? Offensively, pretty good. 23.8, 8 in the NFL, 359.3 yards, 7 in the NFL in total yards offensively per game. Defensively, 22.2, 18th in the NFL, middle of the pack, total yards allowed per game, 337.9, 19th in the NFL, basically middle of the pack, and total DVOA, 17th, middle of the pack in the NFL. They did finish with 10 wins. Could they go over 8.5? Absolutely. Sean McVay is the coach. I would say they can go over 8 wins in 2024. And now over to the next team in the NFC West, and that would be the San Francisco 49ers, or it's a 2023-24 record, 12-5. Coach Kyle Shanahan, offensive coordinator Kyle Shanahan, defensive coordinator Nick Sorensen, first year as defensive coordinator. And then starting quarterback will be Brock Purdy. Star players Christian McCaffrey, running back. We all know him. Excellent running back. Deebo Samuel, wide receiver. Nick Bosa, defensive end. Trent Williams, left tackle. Fred Warner, linebacker for the San Francisco 49ers. Interesting thing, got the Brandon Ayuk deal sorted out. Still working on with Trent Williams to get him in there. Their start left tackle. Notable additions: Malik Collins, defensive line. Josh Dobbs as the backup quarterback for Brock Purdy. Notable departures: Eric Armstead, defensive line. Lost backup quarterback Sam Darnold, Javon Kinlaw, defensive tackle, and Chase Young, defensive end. How were their stats in 2023? Excellent. That's probably how I would describe that. Offensively, they were number 3, 28.9 points per game. Total yards, 398.4 yards, offensive yards per game, and we're second in the NFL. Defensively, excellent. Points per game, 17.5 points allowed per game, and they were third. Yards, 303.9 yards allowed per game, and they were 8th in the NFL. DVOA rank, number 2. Offensively, 1. Defensively, 4th for a total DVOA rank, according to FTN, of 2nd. Projected to win over 11.5 games. I would say under. I think they take a step back. Maybe do better in the playoffs, but might struggle a little bit in the regular season. 10-7, 11-6 record. I could see that for the San Francisco 49ers in the 2024 NFL season. And then finally, our final team preview for the 2024 season would be for the Seattle Seahawks. Last year, they ended with a 9-8 record. Pete Carroll fired the longtime coach of the Seattle Seahawks. Current head coach, Mike McDonald, defensive coach coming from Baltimore, which in my opinion, probably the first, second, maybe between Cleveland and him from 2024. There's very good defense from Baltimore. Mike McDonald is now the coach at Seattle. Offensive coordinator, Brian Grubb, first with the Seattle Seahawks, and defensive coordinator, Aiden Dodd, also the first year as a defensive coordinator. Starting quarterback, Geno Smith. Star players, DK Metcalf, Leonard Williams, defensive tackle, Devin Witherspoon, cornerback, and Rick Woolen, cornerback. DK Metcalf, wide receiver, star wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. Notable additions: Sam Howell, quarterback, to back up Geno Smith. Jerome Baker, linebacker, Laken Tomlinson, guard, and Rashawn Jenkins, safety, for the Seahawks, and notable departures: Jamal Adams, safety; Quandre Diggs, safety; and Will Disley, tight end, gone from the Seattle Seahawks. How were the numbers in 2023? Offensively, middle of the pack, 21.4, 17th in the NFL. And defensively, poor, 23.6, 25th in the NFL. I think Mike McDonald improves that defense, and that's why he was hired. Probably be better defensively this year. And if you consider their offense now with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jackson Smith in Jigba, the top first round pick from 2023, they would have a decent offense as well. DVOA rank in 2023, 16th, middle of the pack, everything average for this team. Record 9-8, also in 2023, kind of average. Projected wins this year, 7.5. This might be one of the best overs. I think they go way over 7.5 wins in 2024. I would say minimum 8-9. They should have a winning record, in my opinion, in 2024. And that would be a wrap on the 2024 team previews in the NFL. And if you watch this whole thing, you watch a segment of it, a clip of it, I appreciate every single one. Did take a while, but this allowed me to delve into the NFL. Kind of enjoyed it, enjoyed bringing it to everyone. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, share, whatever. I appreciate it. Taking a deep dive to start the season, creating the foundation for actually following and enjoying the NFL season in 2024. I appreciate all of you. My name is CT Dice. This is the CT Dice Sports channel on YouTube. You can also find it on Spotify and Spotify as well. It would also be in the video farm, but mainly you would get programming here on YouTube. There are other things that you can also check out on the YouTube channel. Peace.